Are you going to record? Oh, hold on. Sorry.
I'm going to start with Team Agile. So Team Agile, well done, guys. Most of what was shown, what was displayed was very good. We really had to pinpoint uh, obvious errors. Just an advice: when you run your SQL queries, most of those queries are they're just single line and they're not related to the next query. So just use a semicolon to differentiate so that when you click on run, it doesn't just run everything and you get outputs like that. But it was good practice that you guys have started running queries and using different functions. The PBI dashboard was also good. Whoever was responsible for that, well done. And the attendance tracker was also very good. I like the use of colors. The layout was also very good. Whoever did that, because again, I didn't see the names of who worked on this. And I hope the other members who perhaps didn't have an input are also practicing because, like I always say, the more you do these things, the better for you. But yes, but the dashboards that were displayed were very good. The use of colors, creating a funnel chart, all those things were really, really impressive. And using Excel to also create dashboards, completing the exercise was also really good. The regional sales dashboard was excellent as well, so that was well done. And yeah, it was hard to pinpoint errors, maybe because you guys went first. But I mean, I've gone through the most of all these things, and it was you guys did well basically, and yeah, enough evidence to prove that you've been working. So I just want to urge everyone else who's in the team to make sure they're practicing these things. Whoever is doing this is the one that is gaining the most. So you guys should get your hands dirty. And the Excel functions that you learned, they will come in very handy when you eventually get those roles. There will be everyday things that you have to do. If you know them now, you are comfortable with using them now, then that's less research or less googling that you have to do. So those functions, index match, pivot, XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, those things should be standard. You should be able to run that on a fly without even having to check Google. That is good for data analysts. I'm going to move on to in binary. You guys also did good. The only things I could point out I mean, there are similar things I could point out, like use of semicolons when you run your queries. If they're not relating, if the queries are not relating, right, make sure you're using that to differentiate, so that when you run a query, you're not just seeing different things in your output area. And the presenter mentioned cast query. It's not cast query, it's cast function. It's probably a slip of tongue or maybe nerves from the presentation, but just in case you are talking about this in an interview, it has to be correct. The cast is a function and not a query. Yeah, the layout of the presentation is also good. You guys also did well in terms of structuring, or you have to sometimes your dashboard you have to imagine. This goes for both teams. You have to first imagine how you want to place those charts. So I said it one time that you guys can learn from your BAs when they do wireframing, because that's a way of creating a skeletal view of what the website will be like. You as data analysts can also do the same. You can just use your pen and paper and just sketch. This is where I want to place this insight. This is where I want to place this insight. You see that by the time you're done with it, you already know what you're placing where, and it comes out really nice and well structured. Um, some of the some of the reasons why you couldn't finish your presentation is because your slides were were you had some information that were not needed. For example, you had attendance tracker, you had the attendance by row. It was in Excel, it was in Tableau. Don't forget that this is a presentation. It's meant to be high level, right? Just choose one and run with it. But if it was done by two different people, then maybe you could specify. But it looked like you guys were just showing that aspect twice, and then also the semi menu before the main thing it was not needed. That's why you struggled with time. And sometimes you can show two things at the same time. Instead of showing one chart, you can have it all in a dashboard. So dashboard shows everything, and you just run through what is showing where. Something I also spotted was doing the attendance tracker. There was a chart there that said it said attendance. No, it said average of the team. Yeah, it said the list of average of the team. I'm not quite sure how needed or how important that is. I think what would have been good to display on one chart was everybody's attendance and what is the average attendance, across the team. So you know who are meeting the average attendance within the team and people who are falling below the average. I think that would have been a better output for that dashboard. And you would have just had one dashboard, a dual axis dashboard that shows that information, and that would have been good. Yeah, tablet dashboards for performance of the company was very good. Well done. PB analysis, I think that was also good. I like the square chart, but you could have just claimed your data. You had no. You could have just made that unassigned so that your chart wouldn't have a label, a blank label. That was using for the blank label. But otherwise, you guys have made good progress. So congratulations, you guys are now almost ready as data analysts. And don't be afraid. Sometimes you get a role that are not technical, but it's good for you to learn all these things and be comfortable using them because they will help you when you eventually get those roles. So thank you.
I will be doing the ADMs and SMs. I'm not sure about the PMs, but I didn't really pay much attention to them. Allow me, correct me anyway. I'm not sure you told me about the PMs, but yeah. So for the ADM for the Agile team, well done everyone for so far what you have put in so far. Your presentation for the Agile team was really good and impressive. I love the way you structured your ADM presentation for both the teams, because I can see that talking about your RAID log, the way you kind of like differentiated the teams on your RAID log to say this one is for Agile team, all teams, binary team, which is really good. So well done for that. For your looking at your, I think at the beginning you talked about looking at your project plan, the Gantt chart. I was expecting to see expectations, what the project plan is, what you were expected to finish within the sprint, and what you, I can see what you have achieved. But at the beginning, I was expecting to see an overview of what expectations were, how many PBIs that was committed for that particular sprint. But I can see from the ones completed, how many was completed. And moving to the Scrum Master, your presentation was really good as well. And I just needed to point out, you need to be a little bit careful on your terminologies, because there's a point that you talked about that you were able to complete 22 projects. So I think maybe it might be a slip of tongue that you wanted to say 22 PBIs. So when you're doing your presentation, just be mindful of your words. And I was the terminologies. I was expecting as well to see your Scrum ceremonies, but there's no Scrum ceremony on your presentation. So maybe going forward, you need to like show what your Scrum ceremonies within the sprint, what you've done, how many hours it took, or the days, just like the other team showed, the days that they do those Scrum ceremonies. Okay, so that is for me for Team Agile. But well done. It was really, really impressive. Your presentation skills, both of you spoke very well, and it flowed from one point to the other. So well done, Miracle, and the other person that presented for the Scrum Masters. For the other team, which is Team Binary, one of the things I picked is your presentation slides. The color is a bit off for if it's going to be a professional presentation. That blue didn't really tick the box for me. It's a bit too much for this kind of presentation, because it not made your fonts as well a bit tiny. So I know that for presenting for PowerPoint, if you're doing a presentation, your fonts on each slide should be at least 24. So, but the blue is a bit not too good for this kind of presentation. Maybe next time you need to choose another design to kind of make your presentation more professional. Aside from that, your presentation was really good. The ADM is the same person, so that's fine. But for the SM, your presentation was really good. The way you showed your artifacts, just for the two teams as well, the artifacts and explanation on what your abundant chart is and what you achieved and how how you put in your challenges, next step, and how to resolve the challenges is one thing that I really pick, which is really good. So it's not all about talking about the challenges that you have, but what did you do within the sprint to try to resolve those challenges, and the next step that you have going forward, which is really good that you are able to like lay that out to show us that this was the challenges that you have, and this is what you did within your sprint time, within your sprint to try to resolve those challenges, and your next step forward to kind of take it to the next step. That is really, really encouraging. That is really good. And I will say to the both teams, well done. You've put in this work, and I will encourage you that you should all get your hands dirty and ensuring that you maybe do some presentation, do this work, and as well put yourself into what you're doing, knowing fully well that this is your time to kind of upskill yourself and do the things that you needed to do as a Scrum Master, as an ADM, PM, or whatever role that you are on, because it will come to the point where you get a job and you're able to remember all the things that you've done, especially the ADMs and the Scrum Masters. You will have to do presentations, so in your roles when you come out to the real world, you have to do like this presentation. So you need to probably have to get your hands dirty now. And when you get into the real world, it will make your life a lot easier when you're doing all these presentations. Yep. So that is it for me. Thank you.
Everyone. Hi everyone, good evening. Firstly, I'd like to say well done to the two presenters, Rose and Ijoma, for the BAs. You guys presented really, really well. The one thing I want to say for both of you, which I think really cut across a lot of the presenters, though, was time management. It almost seemed like we were ignoring, the timekeeper, because we didn't change our cadence, we didn't change anything. Time is very, very important, especially in presentations. People have very limited time, and when they've booked a time, they've booked a time. Sometimes you find people leaving the meeting once the time is up. So please be really conscious of time. You can prep ahead of time, and at least even show that you're aware that you've overrun time, so you can apologize if it happens. I'm really sorry or something. Just be aware, because it just seemed like a lot of the presenters were not even, it didn't change anything, but other than that, your presentations were really, really well. You guys did really well with your presentation. So now, just for a bit more, to be a bit more specific, I liked, for Team Agile, I liked the fact that a lot of you are still, I think, almost the same number as you people started. So I liked, the fact that a lot of you are still active and participating, and kudos to all of you for sticking it through starting. And I mean, we're almost at the end of it, so well done on that. I liked your artifacts. You updated your mind map, your use cases, and all of that. So I really liked the artifacts that you showed, your wireframe, the process maps that you showed, all of that. I really liked your requirements traceability matrix, and even your RACI. Really, really good artifacts as well. The one thing I want to highlight is for you to be aware that some of those artifacts have to do with waterfall, and obviously this is an agile project, so just to have that at the back of your mind. But I really appreciated the fact that you worked on all of that. I like the analysis of the status of your PDIs. That was really well done as well. I really like the fact that you were also looking ahead. So we were able to see, especially for BAs that work ahead of sprint, we're able to see what you had planned for sprint 5, even though obviously this is a demo for sprint 4. But because BAs have done some work regarding sprint 5, you showcase that. And I'm a fan of you. If you've done work, show it, and that's what you did. So really, really good on that. Areas of improvement, I already talked about time management. I would have liked to see a bit more of your documentation, because I think you showed 1 page of each, so there's nothing wrong. I think one of the other people that gave feedback had something different to say, but I want to see more documentation. BAs, artifacts, that's our bread and butter. So even if you only talk about the first page and you just tell whoever is sharing to just flip through, I don't mind, because we get the slides and we're able to see the full documentation. So for example, your glossary and a number of your different artifacts, I'd have liked to see more. Just show me everything, put everything on there, and then just tell whoever is presenting to skip through and go on to the next thing. So that's something I'd have really liked to see. But very well done again. Very well done. For Team Binary, I've already talked about time management. Ijoma, well done, good presentation. The one thing I would say that let you down, which I want to repeat, obviously it's been said before, is the format you use a presentation. It was so jarring to the eye. It's not very professional. So you guys should pick a better format or templates for your other presentations. Even and including that as well, when you added your screenshots, they almost seemed scrunched, and it was a bit of a pity, because a lot of the templates and things you showed were lovely. You guys have stepped up your game from the last demo. You did so well. You took on a lot of the feedback you got, and I could see it reflected in your presentation this time. So make sure you pick a format that what word am I looking for now, that adds to the work you've done. And even when you share your screenshot, make sure it's not pixelated or scrunched or cut off or anything. It's attention to detail, and as a BA it matters a lot. So that, I think, brought down your presentation a bit, but I was able to see the content of what you had, and it was really, really, really good. You guys stepped up your game. Like I said, you took on a lot of the feedback from last demo, and one of the things you said regarding your wireframes, again, really good. I like that you showed that as well. But one of the things you said was regarding the logo, you weren't able to change it. Firstly, I like that you referred to that, because obviously you heard the feedback and you obviously took it into consideration. But wireframes can be changed in stories. It's not set in stone. The fact that in fact, while you're looking at your PBI, someone has a correction to your wireframe, you can actually take it out, amend it, and put it back again. So it's not, if it's been committed or anything like that, it doesn't mean that if you have something that needs to be changed in your wireframe, you can't change it. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight, just for your future of your other work projects. I like the addition of your sprint goal. There were some touches you had to your presentation that I loved. Your sprint goal, every sprint has to have a goal. You kept your goal in mind, so this is what we want to achieve. You highlighted that really, really brilliantly. You also even talked about the overall project goal, which is awesome as well. But I love the fact that you had your sprint goal there. Obviously, your artifacts were really, really good. You spent time on them. I could see the work that went into your stakeholders matrix. Your RACI it was chef's kiss. It was beautiful. It was so detailed. You didn't just do it for doing sake, like you went into detail. Another thing I loved was your customer journey map. It was, I don't know who's working on all these artifacts, but I really hope more BAs are doing it, because like I think one of the mentors said, the person doing it is the one gaining from it. Like, I really hope more BAs are, you know, trying their hands at these artifacts. That customer journey map was brilliant. It was so well done. So absolutely lovely. Your use case, not only did you have like the diagram, you had the accompanying document as well. Like, you guys did really, really well. I absolutely loved your presentation. You had a change request document, and you did one of the things I was talking about initially, which is you showed the whole document. It wasn't just the first page, you showed everything. So all you had to do was just flick through. So I could see the amount of work that went into that document. Really, really very well done. I even loved your the intern contribution, because we saw everyone did one PDI, but then Abishola obviously stepped in to help someone who was not there and did twice the work. And you could even tell, you know, so I really like that people who put in the hard work get the kudos they deserve. But you all did really, really well. Areas of improvement, I already talked about the presentation. I've talked about time management and all of that, but always showcase your work in the best possible light. So pick your templates carefully, make sure your screenshots are put in there very well, because it adds to, some people can be turned off and not bother looking at the hard work you've done simply because the template, it's jarring, you know. But regardless of that, the hard work you guys put in, it's such an improvement from last week. And I just want to commend all of you, both teams. Actually, you guys did really, really well. I could just see that Team Binary had taken on board the feedback and it reflected in their presentation. So very well done to both of you. Keep up the good work, and yeah, kudos. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'll just do a quick run through on the feedback. So well done to both teams, Team Agile and Team Binary. So I'm gonna start with Agile, which is Samuel. So well done to Samuel. Good presentation, well presented, and again, good content and well structured. The automation slide was great because you had your page object showcasing that it was well structured, and your step definition as well as your feature, and the automation passed as well. So for me, this is what I keep saying. You guys have more than I don't know how many QAs are left now on the group on Team Binary, but just one for 2 week sprint is not a good one, because if you listen to other mentor, I think from what Uzo said, and I think Nkechi also said the same thing. Like so if it's just one person that is doing all this, that's the person gaining. It might be a teamwork, but like Laomi we say, it's per head. So if that automation was just from one particular person from your group and the rest people didn't do anything, I don't know how many stories were committed into sprint and nobody apart from one QA only carried out one automation test, then it's not good enough for the group. But yeah, but well done to whoever did that. And a bug was also raised, which was a great slide, because you had the user story. You had the slide to the user story, and then you also had a screenshot of the website of the particular products. But then you didn't show us how you raised the bug, because you indicated there that what you were looking for was not there, and so it was a bug. Or you should have gone ahead to showcase the process of how the bug was raised. I know you guys know how to raise bug, but yeah, you should have added that to the screen, to your slide. Yeah, and then you also had your ROTM, which is great, your summary report as well. And it was really clear and concise. To be fair, it was a good content were presented by Samuel, and well done. I like your confidence, so just keep it going. So that's for Team Agile. For Binary, well done to Umi, great presentation as well. I'm not surprised, given your background, and well presented. Then for your automation slide, I know you were just trying to get, I don't know who did the slide, but whoever did the slide, normally if you're presenting, because one of the slide for the automation, you had the feature which shows it wasn't binding. You don't put such. If you look at the one by Agile did now, everything there, the page object, everything was well presented, like as it should be. You don't put an empty. I know you went further on the next slide to show us the step definition, but next time, don't put a slide whereby you just have a skeleton of your step definition. We all know what it looks like. All we want to see is I need you to prove to me, to showcase to me that you know what you are doing. Because I'm the stakeholder, I've hired you and I'm paying you, so you need to impress me. So you don't put an empty skeleton of what step definition is, because that was generated anyway. So that's not you writing the code. You want to tell me that you know how to write a code. I know you went on to the next slide to show us your step definition, but yeah. And then for the features, I didn't see any slide showing that it was binding. So yeah, but other than that, I know you went on to show us that it passed, but please next time don't put a slide whereby your features is not binding. It's better off not putting any slide. And don't put a skeleton of your page step definition as well. But other than that, well done. It was also just one feature, one feature. No any other feature was added to that project. I would have expected 2 or 3. I've said that before, which I think I've been saying that since spring 2 or 3. But yeah, well, I look forward to your individual demo. I think that's all, the only thing each and every one of you is focusing on. But I mean, for the projects, for your particular, for each project, for each group, you're supposed to be working on that as well, because Mr. JJ will be looking on that, and you people will have to create a report. So far, it seems to me, it's coming across to me that it's just one QA that it's working, because you only have one feature done for a whole sprint, and you have more than one QA. Well, other than that, well done to both teams. Hopefully your individual demo will prove me wrong, that you guys have been doing self-development, getting your hands dirty and all that. But overall, I know what each and every one of you is capable of doing. So that is why I've been pushing you guys, because I know how much you guys are putting into this. Well, well done, congratulations, and get ready to start applying and get the job. Well done. Thank you. That's it for me.
But for the Agile team, your presentation was quite short, and which is really good, straight to the point. And I love the way you kind of detailed your individual deliverables, showing what each and every one of you PM and your team has achieved. It is really good. And what I really don't like is your attendance tracker is a bit, I think it's just way too much. And the way you put it in, like absent, but if you go through the other team, what they've done, they just put 0. It makes it more smart. So if you can just maybe when you're trying to present it, kind of filter what you're screenshotting and make it look a little bit more smarter. But apart from that, you did really well. Your presentation was quite interesting. It's just something that when you're talking about the things that you've done, someone can easily follow what you've done, and you explained what your project plan is, and what the project manager's role is as well. So Rachel, coming to you, I really, really loved your work. I'm still just having open looking at it. I love the way you had the work done for the sprint, the way you showcased the work done for the sprint, and your attendance track as well is really good. I love the colors that you put in there. It made it look eye-catchy. So whenever someone sees it, the person can easily look at it and it's not like sore to the eye. So that one is really good. And I love the analysis of your attendance tracker using the pie chart and the attendance by row, how you kind of differentiated it so someone can easily see it and see the numbers and be able to relate what you have in your main attendance tracker to what you have on those analyses of your tracker. And you've put in a lot of work in it, which I can see, which kind of, I don't know why you're like, oh, you needed to get feedback. Your work is really good. Your representation of what you have done within the sprint is really commendable. It's something that I'm just looking at. I'm like, wow, this is really good. So anyone that sees it will really see what you have done within the sprint. Your activity tracker, they are all really commendable. Your glossary is really good for you to be able to put that in to explain whatever you have used or terminologies that you use as a project manager, for somebody else to kind of like relate to those terminologies, the explanation of what they are for someone that doesn't know what they are. So this is really, really good. Your project status report, you have like, that's your presentation encompasses of everything that you have done within the sprint. I really, really appreciate the time you have taken to put this together and do the presentation as well. If you're the one that did this, well done, and keep it up. Keep doing it, because it will really help you when you get out there. And I will recommend for others as well to kind of borrow it from you, if you're the one that did it, to kind of do the same thing that you've done with presentation and things like that. So please don't be angry that I didn't pay attention when you were doing your presentation, but well done to your team as the as PMs. Just excuse me, please. Ouch. Just well done to all the PMs. You've done really well with your task within this sprint, and I appreciate your effort. So lessons learned as well, which is really good. The tools that you used, the way you represented it, Rachel, is really really good. I love the way you just put the logos of the tools that you've used in your presentation. As I said at the beginning, the design that you guys chose wasn't really good, but even with that, you were able to still use those presentation of those tools to make it colorful, make it look a little bit softer to the eyes. So well done to the PMs, and don't feel bad, okay?